Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and this is the HiFiMan Ananda Nano. This is the latest edition of the Ananda series. It is $600 US. It is a full-size, open-back, planar magnetic headphone. HiFiMan very graciously sent this to me for review. They have asked nothing in return other than a fair and honest evaluation, which you are about to see. I will include a couple of affiliate links where you can buy this headphone down in the description below from like Amazon and Apos Audio and places like that, so that if you like this review and you like what I say about this product and you want to help support the channel, please consider using one of those affiliate links to buy this, and then I will get a few bucks back. And I use affiliate link money to put right back into the channel to pay for shipping costs, buy things like lights and microphones and all of that kind of support stuff, as well as new gear to review for the good of the channel. All right, and I will just tell you right away, HiFiMan has again just completely flexed on the headphone market with this piece, as they have been doing a lot lately. This is a very compelling package at $600 US. So let's do shameless self-promotion, and then we'll come back on the other side and I will tell you why I just made that claim.
Hi, I'm Wave Theory's human companion, and he wants you to know that your support of this YouTube channel helps keep the reviews coming. If you enjoy Wave Theory's honest, thorough style, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the links in the description below to sign up for the Patreon or send him a tip through PayPal. All right, enjoy the musings.
All right, the Ananda Nano is so named because this is the first iteration of the Ananda series to include what HiFiMan calls their super nanometer thickness diaphragm. And what that is just the planar magnetic membrane that is in here is super thin, and they've gotten it thin enough to the point where they feel they can confidently and comfortably measure it in nanometers instead of micrometers or something of that nature, okay? So that's its namesake, and I think this is probably the third or fourth generation of the Ananda series with that. It also has the stealth magnets in it, okay, just like the Stealth Magnet Edition did, and so forth. Okay, in this review, I'm going to defend the comment that I made in the intro, where I talked about HiFiMan flexing on the headphone market here, because, well, they are. All right, and the Ananda Nano is one piece with which they are doing that. And I don't like to flame up or start hype trains, but it's going to be hard not to do that with this one, because what this thing offers at $600 is just a remarkably compelling package and really sets a new standard at that price point. Okay, so I will unpack all of that in this review, as well as talk about where this one fits into the broader market context, although you probably got it after the comment I just made, as well as do some fairly detailed comparisons to its sibling models, the Edition XS, its predecessor, the Ananda Stealth Magnet Edition, and then does it reach up and pick off like some of their higher end models, such as the Arya Stealth Magnet Edition. Okay, we'll talk about all of that. So then about this one on its own, specs-wise, again, $600 US. The rated impedance on this is 14 ohms with a sensitivity rating of 94 decibels, although HiFiMan does not specify whether that is decibels per volt, millivolt, or watt/milliwatt. And then the mass of this is 419 grams. You can see the build is classic HiFiMan, right? We've got these egg-shaped cups. All right, we have the like Sundara style headband with the suspension strap on it here. And it just, other than the change in color, it looks like HiFiMan's egg-shaped headphones. The cup size is just a touch smaller than the previous edition of the Ananda, the Stealth Magnet Edition. Another thing that you see, other than the obvious changes in color here, is that the bars here on the back of the cup, these things here, they are thinner than they are on the Ananda Stealth Magnet Edition. I hope the camera picks that up okay, and hope that you can see that those are in fact thinner. And then also just feeling this, like the Nano feels lighter to me. It's not quite as heavy as the Ananda Stealth Magnet Edition in there. Okay. the headband that we just talked about there, the one thing about it is that it doesn't offer a whole lot of swivel this way, okay, that way. It does enough, I think, for most people's heads, but it does not do like what the headbands on the Arya series do, where you just get, you know, like a ton of swivel there, okay? All right, cable entry, dual 3.5 millimeter jacks. That's kind of the HiFiMan's standard on here. The stock cable is like that cheap stock cable. It's single-ended only, so if you want to use this with a balanced amp, you're going to need to buy an aftermarket cable. But I think most people are going to want to buy aftermarket cables with this anyway, because the stock cable is not great. Par for the course for HiFiMan. Also, and I know this will be a controversial statement, but I hear this so consistently with their cables, HiFiMan's cheaper stock cables put a treble peak into the sound of these things. I would recommend looking into Heart audio cables or Audiophile Ninja, and Audiophile Ninja is what I ended up using for the bulk of this review. Okay. I think HiFiMan, like, they have a reputation that was well-earned, or maybe not well-earned in some ways, in terms of having poor quality control. I think they are really improving on this. I have not had any build issues with them, and I don't really have any build complaints about this headphone either. It seems to be fairly well made and so forth. So, yeah, here we go. So with that, let's talk about some sound. Test gear. I tried to spend the bulk of the listening on this with headphone amps and signal chains that were like price appropriate to a $600 headphone. So I tried this on the Shit Asgard 3 as a headphone amp and the Lake People G111 Mark II. DACs for those would have been a Gishelli's J2S with the Sparkos op amps in it. Okay. That Gishelli would be connected to my Microsoft Surface Pro 4 direct USB. Okay, then I also like increased signal chain quality some just to see how it would scale up. I used the direct headphone output of the Black Ice Audio Glass FX DAC, which I am nearing being able to film a review for, so keep an eye out for that very soon. That has a headphone output on it on its vacuum tube output stage, which handles planars pretty well, and that I tried this on there. And then I pulled out some big guns where I tried like my Berkeley Alpha Series 2 through like my Vioelectric HPV 281 and the HiFiMan Golden Wave Prelude amplifier, which I'm also working on a review for. And this got a little bit of run on my Chord Hugo 2 as well. Music files that I would have played on this would have been like local lossless or high-res FLAC files, or streamed local, or just not streamed local, but streamed lossless or high-res FLAC files from Qobuz, all through Roon. Okay. So I said that HiFiMan is flexing on the headphone market right now, and that this is one of the reasons they're doing it, and it's because, like, good luck finding a headphone, say, under about $800 that sounds overall better than this one. Okay. I wanted to say like up to $1,000 that sounds better than this one. The problem is that the Arya Stealth Magnet Edition, it does not quite catch this one in terms of overall performance. I'll get into a more detailed comparison in a little bit, but this one is at $999 right now. And so it's probably the best all-arounder under $1,000 right now. And it's been a long time since I've heard the original Focal Clear, but you can get those for around $890, $900 I think anymore. And that's probably a little bit stronger all around than this one is, but not likely to be by much. But up to about $800 probably. I don't know if you're going to find a better all-around performer than this one right now. And here's why. Let's start with the tonality of it and the perceived frequency response. Slight V, maybe more of a U shape. Compared to like the Ananda Stealth Magnet Edition, the upper treble feels like it's elevated just a little bit, but it's not peaky or sibilant. It's more like a shelf in its presentation there, with good tonal balance, like good relationships between fundamental frequencies and the upper harmonics. Okay. Likewise, down at the low end, I think the sub bass is elevated just a little bit over some previous HiFiMan's, particularly the Ananda series, with really excellent bass extension and all of that too. But the tonal balance, the relationship between fundamental frequencies and harmonics through the entire audible range is very strong and very natural and very believable. Okay, so call it a very shallow V or a very shallow U in its overall frequency response, but its tonality is well balanced and believable across the entire spectrum. Bass is deep, extended, it is detailed, it's got excellent pitch definition to it, and it's very slammy, it's very punchy. A theme that we're gonna get into here is like the dynamics and the speed of this headphone are really strong, right? This thing hits hard, like it slams pretty hard in the bass, kind of like the Edition XS does, but like HiFiMan with this one, with the Arya Organic and all of that, they are really getting very close to, if not surpassing, like the Odyssey LCDX or the MM500 in terms of the physicality of the sound and the slam in the bass. But it's not just in the bass. Like with this one here in the Nano, snare drums and all of that just have this really quick snap to them. So there's just a dynamic, lively, fun presentation to the pacing and just the physicality and the timing aspects of the sound. But it still has very accurate timing to me. Like the attacks are aggressive and fun, but the decays are not too quick. So it doesn't sound dry or chalky or like discrete or segmented in its presentation, because the decays are well done and natural sounding to my ear in terms of how long they stick around. I don't think you're going to find a more resolving headphone than this for $600. Like the signs of resolution out there, like not only does it extract a lot of detail from the sound, but also other things that are at least like related to resolution to me, which some of those timing aspects that I just mentioned are, but like image or instrument and vocal separation, and then spatial presentation, just all really good and are, you know, tied to resolution to a degree. But then one of the strengths of HiFiMan's house sound for a while here with their big open back planars here has been their holography, their spatial presentation. You get a big but not huge soundstage here, but the imaging and the separation and just the holography, the ability to place instruments in the sound field, even in the depth dimension, and then put space between those sounds is just really remarkable for a headphone of the price, and I don't think you're going to find better at the price, or even a little bit more, okay? So that is all really impressive. Like the sonic presentation here in totality, I just don't think you're gonna do better at $600. I don't, okay? So let me say a little bit more about that and like talk about like market context and some comparisons here. As I just said, I think you've got to go up to Arya, which now, just because its price was slashed, is under $1,000, or maybe the original Focal Clear. Same kind of situation there, where there's a newer generation of the Clear line, so the originals got their price slashed so that they could move on from their stock, right? So those are probably the only reasons why this would not be the best overall sounding headphone under $1,000 US right now. I've heard several lately, including the Meze 109 Pro, Aurora Borealis, etc. I would pick this one up over those. Okay, if I owned them both and they were sitting right there, more often than not, I would be like, yep, doing the Nano. Okay, so there's that in terms of the broader market context. How does this compare to some of HiFiMan's sibling models for it, like the Edition XS, which was originally $500 and is now about $450, I think. The XS was arguably one of HiFiMan's like slammiest headphones in the bass. Like it hit pretty hard and rumbled pretty good. Nano catches it on that, if not surpassing just like the quickness and the slamminess of the bass and making it tighter sounding and all of that. But more resolution from the Nano, more holography from the Nano, more refinement, and just a more like buttoned up, smoother, less fatiguing sound overall than the XS. Definitely worth the price increase in terms of added performance over the XS to my ear. Also, it's more comfortable. Like the suspension strap headband on this works a lot better than this thing, okay? So there's that. How about the previous Ananda, the Stealth Magnet Edition? This one is just a more laid-back, sweeter all-around sound than the Nano is. So it's not quite as dynamically aggressive and all that, but I also think it's not quite as resolving. Like you're not, it doesn't separate out sounds from each other as well, either spatially or in terms of like instrument and vocal separation. And it also, like, something about the lower mids in this one just made it sound a little bit veiled to me. Like it just does not have the clarity that the Nano brings to its overall sound. Now, it has less overall treble energy than the Nano does. So if you are a treble sensitive listener, and it doesn't matter whether it's peaky or shelf-like, okay, you just can't handle the, the extra treble energy, this one might be a better option for you in that way. The Stealth Magnet Edition is still an excellent headphone, and if you get a good deal on one, I wouldn't turn it down, but I do think the Nano is a significant step forward in a lot of ways and in a lot of important performance categories. The Arya Stealth is where the Nano starts to fall off a little bit. It does not quite catch the Arya Stealth in terms of like its resolution, not quite there, or its overall refinement, or its ability to like do imaging and separation. It's not quite as overall holographic, but I do think it catches the Stealth Magnet, the Arya Stealth, in terms of the dynamics, right? It punches, it hits, it slams a little bit harder than the Arya does, and it certainly matches the Arya for like those snare drum snaps and like the speediness of that sound kind of there, or at least comes very close to it. So there is a consistent and detectable performance gap overall in favor of the Arya Stealth Magnet Edition over the Ananda Nano, but it is not a huge gap. Okay, you would probably be a bit surprised by how close these two are to each other, even though I do give the edge to the Nano, or excuse me, the Arya Stealth Magnet Edition in overall sound. So how does this then compare to like the newest edition of the Arya, the Organic, which I have a review for, link down in the description. I actually have a review of all of these, links in the description. The Organic is a noticeable step up in overall performance from the Arya Stealth, and I will say more, if you want to hear more about that, go see my review of the Arya Organic. But that also means that it puts more distance between itself and the Nano, the Organic does, over there then. So this one does not catch its more expensive siblings in terms of like, up into the $1,000+ tier. Okay, so it's not a giant killer, but at $600, boy, the bar has really been raised here. So let's kind of pull all of this together. And I keep saying like HiFiMan has flexed on the headphone market. And I want to be clear here that I'm talking about their open backs with that. Their closed backs range from meh to hot garbage. So I'm not a HiFiMan shill. If you think I'm shilling HiFiMan, go see my Audivina review, okay? Link in the description. But the HE400 SE, for my ear and my money, is probably the strongest overall starting point you can do for like audiophile grade headphones at $109 US. The Sundara open back version, arguably the best planar magnetic headphone under $400 at least. Really strong entry point into planar magnetic headphones there if you don't want to do it at the true entry level. That one's really strong. Edition XS to me was like one of the better, at least one of the better $500 open back headphones out there. Possibly the best complete package, maybe. Not as confident about that one. The Ananda Nano, the Stealth Magnet Edition, likewise, similar to the XS at $700, super strong, did a lot right. Okay, they're at $700 for a while. Then you start getting up into the higher tier, and like when the Arya Stealth Magnet Edition was $1,600, I did a roundup with it and a bunch of other $1,200 to $1,800 open backs and declared it the all-around winner. And then they dropped it to $1,300, and the value on that just became that much better. And then they came out with the Arya Organic, which was noticeably better than the Stealth Magnet Edition to my ear, and it's just like, whoa. The rest of the market's got to catch up, right? And then they put their HE1000 V2s, both the original and the Stealth Magnet Edition, at $1,400, and just no one's touching that. No one is touching that in terms of overall performance at that price right now. No one. And then when they slashed the HE1000 SE to $2,000, I mean, whoa. You're not beating that at $2,000. You just aren't, okay? And so that's what I mean here is like, HiFiMan, they just keep raising the bar at those various price points. And I don't think you're going to do better right now all around at $600 in this one. You might find a headphone that you like the tuning of a little bit more than this one, or that it hits a little bit harder yet in the bass, like it's a Foztex, okay? It's a little bit harder in the bass than this one does, and that's really what you're after, okay? You might find one like still the Sen HD600 series with that amazing mid-range timbre. It's going to do a little bit better in the timbre than this one, okay? But only in the mid-range. Like this one will have better treble and bass timbre, I bet you. If I didn't mention the timbre of this one, it's really good, okay? Like not stunningly good, but just it never got in the way. Voices sound like voices, pianos like pianos, like all of those kinds of things. Like it just sounded really, really strong there. But the point that I'm getting is like you're not going to get a headphone at $600 that bests this one in resolution or spatial presentation. It's one of the more dynamic and impactful headphones now around that price. The timbre is really strong. The tonality, the overall tonality and tonal balance, very good. So yeah, good luck finding a better overall headphone than this one at $600. If there's one out there, I would really love to hear it because it will be amazing, okay? But yeah, so this may be a little bit shorter than a lot of my reviews, but that's because I don't know how to keep saying it. I've already talked about where it fits into the market and some comparisons with its sibling models. Just like, good luck finding a better $600 headphone, period. Okay? So we'll leave it there. I'm Wave Theory. This has been my review of the HiFiMan Ananda Nano. Please remember to like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment down below, check out my PayPal, my Patreon, and look for ways to support the channel. And as always, enjoy the music.